You're lying in a field 40,000 years ago, and the moon is full. Not just bright, full. The kind of full where you can see your own shadow stretched out across the grass like something is standing behind you. And somewhere in the dark, something starts howling. Your whole body tenses before your brain even catches up. Why? Why does a rock 384,000 kilometers away make your skin crawl? This is the story of why nearly every culture that has ever existed on Earth looked up at a full moon and felt something was wrong. Not romantic. Not peaceful. Wrong. And weirdly enough, science is starting to agree with them. Let's get one thing straight before we go further. This isn't superstition dressed up as an ancient mystery. Full moon fear shows up independently in cultures that never met each other. Ancient Rome had lunaticus, moonstruck, the literal root of the word lunatic. Medieval Europe swore werewolves transformed under full moons. Traditional societies across Africa, Asia, and the Americas all developed separate, unrelated taboos about sleeping outdoors, traveling, or giving birth during a full moon. When completely disconnected civilizations independently arrive at the same fear, that's usually not coincidence. That's usually biology talking. So let's start with the obvious question nobody actually asks. What changes when the moon is full? The answer is light. For most of human history, a full moon was the only reliable source of nighttime illumination on Earth. No electricity, no fire that lasts till dawn, nothing. And that light did something specific. It extended the hours predators could hunt effectively. Lions in modern Africa have been tracked hunting significantly less during full moons, not because they're scared of it, but because prey can see them coming. But here's the twist. When lion populations shift their strategy to compensate, some prey species, including early hominins, would have faced a dangerous trade-off. More visibility meant predators adapted by hunting at the edges of moonlight, in the transition zones between shadow and glow, exactly where visibility is worst and confusion is highest. A full moon didn't make the night safer. It made it tactically different, and different is where things go wrong. Now here's where it gets interesting. Full moon nights also meant something else. You could see, which meant other humans could see you. For a species that spent most of its evolutionary history in small, vulnerable groups, extra visibility wasn't a gift. It was exposure. Rival groups, raiders, anyone with bad intentions had a full moon's worth of extra hunting hours too. Anthropologists studying hunter-gatherer societies have found that intergroup violence and raiding activity in several traditional cultures clustered disproportionately around brighter lunar phases. Moonlight didn't just illuminate prey. It illuminated you. Let's talk about sleep, because this is where the science gets genuinely strange. In 2013, researchers at the University of Basel ran a controlled sleep study. Participants slept in a lab with zero visible moonlight, zero clocks, no way to know the lunar phase at all. And their sleep still changed. During the full moon phase, participants took longer to fall asleep, got roughly 20 minutes less deep sleep, and had measurably lower melatonin levels, even with no light exposure whatsoever. Something in the body appeared to track the lunar cycle independent of visual cues. The study has faced replication challenges since, and the effect size is genuinely debated among sleep scientists. But even in that uncertainty, there's something worth sitting with. If the human body is even partially wired to expect disruption during full moons, then thousands of generations of ancestors experiencing lighter, more fragmented sleep on full moon nights would have absolutely noticed. And what gets noticed for tens of thousands of years gets turned into myth. There's also a reproductive angle that rarely gets airtime. Some researchers have proposed that ancestral human menstrual cycles may have once synchronized more closely with the lunar cycle, since both average around 29 days. This idea remains contested and modern data doesn't show reliable synchronization, but the coincidence of the numbers alone was enough for ancient observers to build entire belief systems on it. Moon goddesses tied to fertility and childbirth show up across wildly unrelated mythologies. Selene in Greece, Chang'e in China, Ixchel among the Maya, because the pattern, real or not, was too tempting not to notice. Here's the part that connects everything together. Human brains are pattern recognition machines built by evolution to find cause and effect, fast, even when the data is thin. If your group experienced worse sleep, higher predator risk, higher raid risk, and unexplained biological shifts, all clustering around the same 29-day cycle. Your ancestors didn't need a controlled study to draw a conclusion. They needed to survive one bad full moon night to start telling their children, something's different when the moon is like that. And that warning, passed down for hundreds of generations, hardens into fear that outlives the reasons behind it. This is actually a documented psychological phenomenon called the lunar effect, and modern research has been surprisingly harsh on it. Large-scale studies looking at hospital admissions, crime rates, and psychiatric emergencies have mostly failed to find a consistent link to full moons. So why does the belief survive so powerfully even today, among nurses, police officers, and emergency room staff who swear full moons bring chaos? Because of something called confirmation bias combined with what's called illusory correlation. When something dramatic happens during a full moon, we remember it vividly and attach meaning to the coincidence. When nothing happens, we don't notice at all. Our ancestors weren't wrong to notice patterns. They were just working with data collected by a brain that's built to remember danger, not disprove it. And there's one more layer, maybe the most human one. A full moon is bright enough to cast shadows, to make familiar shapes look unfamiliar, to turn a bush into a crouching animal for half a second before your brain corrects itself. That half second of uncertainty, multiplied across a lifetime of full moons, multiplied across thousands of generations, is enough to wire deep unease into a species. You don't need the moon to actually be dangerous. You just need enough almost encounters, enough shadows that almost moved, enough nights where something felt off, and the fear becomes permanent, encoded into folklore long before anyone understood why. So why did ancient humans fear the full moon? Not because of magic. Because of light that extended predator hunting hours, exposure that made hiding harder, sleep that quietly unraveled without anyone knowing why, and a brain that connects dots whether or not the dots are actually related. The moon didn't do anything to them directly. It just changed the rules of the night, slightly, subtly, every 29 days, for the entire span of human existence. And a species that survived by noticing small changes in its environment noticed that one, and never really stopped being a little unsettled by it. So the next time you're outside on a full moon night and feel that faint, illogical prickle on the back of your neck, that's not superstition. That's 300,000 years of ancestors whispering the same thing they always whispered when the night got a little too bright. Pay attention.